Aloha and welcome back. I'm Panther and this is Monster Keeper. Sorry about the wonky upload. I had issues. But thankfully when I put this out, all you got to see is like the end of the game. So yeah, sorry about that. I'll make sure to adjust the playlist come time. Alright, let's get into this. 21. Mad Eye. Ariel Cult. Bio. A group of these creatures is referred to an audience of Mad Eyes. They seem to share telepathic link with each other while in close proximity. A whole audience of Mad Eyes will always focus on anything strange and unknown to them, as if they could discern its nature by staring at it long enough. Curiously, each Mad Eye possesses a second brain in their tail, which sometimes works against the Mad Eye's interests. History. It was quite shocking when the existence of Mad Eyes was discovered in 202 AC. They were found living in expansive cave systems deep underneath the old world, which they may have created themselves over thousands of years or more. The vast majority of Mad Eyes still dwell there, as it would be impossible to relocate the entire Mad Eye population to the Sanctuary. The underground world of the Mad Eyes was closed off shortly after its discovery, as it was widely believed that some things should be left the way they are. Still, Mad Keeper Master Azur broke into the forlorn place within a year of its discovery and brought just a handful of Mad Eyes to the Sanctuary, which have since grown into a stable audience. Nightwing. Number 22. Nightwing. Aerial Beast. Bio. The Nightwing is possibly the most stealthy predator that nature has ever produced. It produces no audible sound, and it seems as if it is able to meld into the shadows. A combination of extremely keen instincts and magic, it is known to feed on the blood of humans, animals, and even other monsters. It is believed to be able to see in the dark, sense the blood of any warm being in miles away. Okay. Sense the blood of any warm-blooded being from miles away, and hear the breathing sound of a sleeping human or animal. History. There are many stories and myths of the old world surrounding the Nightwing. The names of the Nightwings are countless. The King of the Night, Blood Demon, Vampire, Chupacabra are only a few of them. However, it's only a matter of time until humanity's desire for exploration encroaches upon their territory. More and more forests vanish so that factories and cities could be built, until Nightwing was pushed away into the caves, sewers, and ruins of the old world. In 1209 AC, a group of monster keepers decided to bring the Nightwings to the Sanctuary, despite perceived difficulty of such a mission. They were surprised to find that the Nightwings were quite eager to come with them. Wait, so is this place like on the same line as modern day? It's just because it's so backward and caring more about the monsters, it never developed? Weird. Number 23. Tuxquis. Aquatic Fish. You think? Bio. The Tuxquis was first found in polluted areas of the ocean. They travel close to the water surface as well as deep deep waters, collecting toxic waste and the poison of other predators alike. They store it in their toxic sac in their belly to use these hazardous substances for their own purposes at a later time. It is not only a peculiar purpose that the Tuxquis large belly serves, as they may also suck in large quantities of air to propel themselves above water and hover. The last and not least, males of the species also carry and hatch eggs within a pouch hidden in their belly, aka their seahorses. History: the Tuxquis are a relatively new addition to the sanctuary, having been introduced to the sanctuary in 457 AC. It is believed that they only came into being a few years prior to that date. So after they were discovered, they terrorized the seafaring industry and coastal lines of the old world. In less than a second, the Tuxquis might rise of the unseen depths of the water and spew slime at careless beachgoer who had thrown trash into the water. Okay. Betaloid. Number 22, Betaloid. Construct insect. Bio. The Betaloid is quite a terrifying creature, which is why the keepers try to keep their population low. Its horn and lower abdomen are mainly comprised of a unique type of metal called betylium. The lower abdomen resembles an magnetic coil consisting of many betylium threads. It allows the Betaloid to charge and store a deadly amount of electricity, whereas the horn is used as a lightning rod to protect it from incoming lightning. A fight between two Betaloids in their prime is quite a sight to behold, if one survives to tell the tale. History. It is unknown how the Betaloids came into being. However, it is peculiar that they emerged only after humanity had discovered electricity and began industrialization. The most popular theory states that the Betaloid is nature's response to humanity's advance in technology. A less popular theory states that a mad scientist created the Betaloids to serve as energy generators. Of course. Okay. Entry 25. Druid Oak. Nature, Spirit, Mage. Bio. The Druid Oaks might be one of the toughest and most resilient, long-living monsters of the Sanctuary. It is near impossible to pierce the Druid Oak's body. While they are sensitive to fire, they can never be burned away entirely. They always regenerate from any damage sustained. History. Druid Oaks were created by an ancient magic that was practiced by the legendary Druids of old. Some accounts call it a twisted dark spell that created the Druid Oaks, but the keepers don't abide by such superstitions. As we know, aged druids often chose to let their souls return to nature, and the Druid Oaks represent a way to do so. Usually, a druid began the process during the last years of their life. They would take a chunk of a broken tree's dead body, or dead wood, and carve a face into it, and add thick branches as limbs. Then, when the druid felt it ready for it, they would transfer their soul into the piece of wood, creating a Druid Oak. The druid dies so that the new life may flourish. It is said that part of the druid's personality lives on in the Druid Oak they've created. It's kind of sad. Magma Moth. Entry 26. Magma Moth. Aerial insect. Bio. As though Magma Pillar already didn't... as though the Magma Pillar hadn't already evolved far beyond all predators of the animal kingdom. The Magma Moth represents its final adult form. The Imago. In addition to its innate ability to generate heat, it gains mastery over the winds thanks to its double set of powerful wings. However, it barely uses its physical power to fly. Instead, it generates hot air that pushes its wings and body upward. Using this method of propulsion, it can ascend to the heavens and vanish out of the eyesight within a minute. History. The thick, dark forests where the Magma Moth prefers to dwell were shunned by the people of the old world. However, as humanity made advances in technology, they engineered machines and protective suits that allowed them to fight back against the heat of the Magma Moth. The dying Magma Moths burst into flame, setting fire to the forest and causing a mad spiral of destruction. It was this event that sparked the war between the first monster keepers and the kings of the old world. The spectral familiars gave a special kind of magic to those monster keepers, allowed them to harness and hatch eggs of the Magma Moth and other monsters as well. So this guy kind of started the whole thing. Entry 27. Mole Bear. Beast. Bio. Quite possibly the highest evolved beast of the animal kingdom. However, the sharp claws and spikes of the mole bear mainly serve as defensive tools. As the mole bear's diet consists of plants, it forages and insects it finds in the ground. Mole bears feel most at home in the underground caverns that they create themselves over years of effort. During the winter, the mole bears stay hidden in the deepest reaches of these caves, where they are safe from the freezing colds above. History. Mole bears were regarded as dangerous creatures in the old world, but the monster keepers always knew that mole bears were peaceful and mild-tempered beings. Still, it was quite a huge undertaking to bring mole bears into the sanctuary, and it was finished only by 44 AC. In the centuries since, the mole bears have formed an expansive system of interlinked caves and tunnels underneath the ancient woods. Recently, these tunnels have become connected to the abandoned stronghold dungeon. Even though the ancient forests never see snowfall, the monsters of the ancient woods use mole bears' caves as shelter during when it's stormy outside. The mole bears and magma moths of the ancient woods have come to a truce of sorts, as they are eventually evenly matched in power. Entry 28. Glowfly. Aerial insect. Bio. Deceptively small, the glowfly has often been seen as a regular insect, though its light outshines any common firefly by far. And while most bioluminescent creatures produce light without heat, the glowfly's light emulates a miniature sun, cooling itself only through constant beating of its wings. History. Due to the peaceful nature and its tenacity to dwell in isolated places, it was only in 187 AC that the Glowfly was recognized as a monster. This discovery was made by the Monster Keeper Ranger, Hooligan, or Horrigan, who went out to explore uncharted regions within the large rainforests of the Old World. During the twilight hours, he saw a flicker, a dimly glowing light, down on the forest soil, which turned out to be an injured Glowfly. Horrigan did what he could to nurse the small creature back to health, but decided to carry on his expedition regardless. Later on, he fell down a treacherous ravine, and a number of wild creatures preyed upon him in his injured state. It was then that he was engulfed in a warm, pulsing light. It was a horde of glowflies. Any beast that came too close to the Keeper Ranger were torched by the glowflies. That's sweet. Entry 29. Goblin Brew. Goblin Warrior. Bio. Equipped with a flimsy-looking club and a shield. This warrior of the Goblin tribe doesn't look like they'd put up much of a fight. However, the Goblin Brute should not be underestimated. For one, their equipment is carved out of sturdy, enchanted wood of the ancient woods trees. Secondary, Goblin Brutes possess outstanding fighting skills, even when they have little to fight with, being able to transform any mundane object into a deadly weapon. That sounds pretty cool, actually. History. Goblin kind was created by the Warlock Ralsilid centuries before the creation of the Monster Sanctuary. He resided in a dark tower in the middle of the vast forest, full of monsters and far away from all human civilization. Some romanticized versions of this tale state that Ralazad created goblins to keep him company in the desolate place, but it seems far more likely that he only desired to have expendable minions that would do his bidding. How it was possible for a human warlock to attain the power to will a new species into existence, we may never discover. Any records of the tomes were destroyed. Entry number 30, Goblin Hood. Goblin Warrior. Bio. Their deadly aim is rivaled only by their survival instincts, for goblins are crafty folk who find ways to survive in any corner of the world. The Goblin Hood represents this quality more than any other type of goblin. They are hunters, trappers, survivalists of the tribe. Thanks to an ingenuity and just a pinch of makeshift sorcery, they were able to hunt down almost any beast with only a minimum of goblin casualties. History. Created only... Oh, okay, this is slightly different. It is believed that the Warlock Rilsid only created a handful of goblins, but they quickly multiplied, populating the forests around his tower, constructing makeshift huts and villages. The goblins had to find ways to fend for themselves, as the Warlock did not provide his goblin offspring with anything but tasks. So the first Goblin Hood arose, using bow and arrow to hunt game. However, he was soon eaten by a wild beast that roamed the forest. The second Goblin Hood learned from the first Hood mistake. He snuck into the Warlock's tower and spied on the Warlock as he practiced his magic. Soon, goblins learned to harness the power of fire and ice. Entry 31. Goblin Warlock. Goblin Mage. Bio. Wielding a powerful staff and wearing the skull of a large rodent. That is not a large rodent. The Goblin Warlock represents the tribe's witch doctor, shaman, and scholar. They also teach the young, or at least they make an effort to do so. Most important subject of the Goblin School is history, and every Goblin child gets taught about the creation of their kind through the human warlock Rilsid. Few of them are able to recall the story. Those are the ones who become the Goblin Warlocks. History. For many years and Goblin generations, the Goblins lived continually in the forests of the Warlock. However, there were some Goblins who looked up at the tall tower and wondered what powers could be found inside. Eventually, while the Warlock was gone, a group of Goblins broke into the tower, and they stole as many tomes and magical artifacts they could carry. Immediately upon his return, the Warlock realized what had happened, and he was furious. He demanded that the Goblins turn the thieves over to him so that they could be punished. Goblins were eager to do so, but the group of thieves used the stolen artifacts to attack the Warlock, sparking a war between the Goblins and the human Warlock. Oh, I like where this story is going. Entry 32. Goblin King. Goblin Warrior. Bio. A great number of Goblin tribes populated the ancient woods. So this is sometime after the Warlock fight. Okay. Although each tribe functions more like a big family, there is too much squabbling and infighting among the goblins to form a true tribe. Only when a champion emerges among the goblins will many of the tribe families come together under one ruler, the Goblin King. History. Goblins were on the brink of extinction as the human warlock hunted them down for defying him. The tide of war had only turned when the Goblin Warlocks used their newfound powers to create a new type of goblin, stronger, bigger, and more willful. This first Goblin King gathered all the remaining goblin around him, shouting them into submission. A legion of goblins had been hiding in the caves and tunnels of the forest. They all came out to fight as an army, united by fear. They took the human warlock by surprise and defeated him. There's still a couple of other goblin entries. I'm kind of interested in where the story goes from there, but yeah, that was cool. Entry 33. Raduga. Raduga. Natural or aerial natural bird. Nature bird. Bio. The most majestic of all the bird-like monsters, save perhaps for the spectral eagle. But whereas the spectral eagle governs the power of storm and sun, the Raduga symbolizes universal balance. Its distinct long tail feathers symbolize the four main elements of nature. Its mere presence fills all beings around it with hope and vigor. History. For hundreds of years, monster keepers traveled the old world in search of this mystical being. The myths hint towards the Raduga only appearing in lands that are at complete peace and tranquility. But the Raduga remained elusive as ever, even when there weren't any wars fought in the old world. In 400 AC, on the anniversary of the Sanctuary's creations, the keepers were amazed to see a Raduga flying high in the sky above the sanctuary. Needless to say, the keepers rejoiced and celebrated that they had never celebrated before. Entry 34. Ice Blob. Slime. An era of winter surrounds these blob-like rotund creatures. A cold breeze follows them wherever they go. Any keeper with aspirations to climb the snowy peak should be warned not to underestimate these ice blobs. Despite their dangerous nature, many keepers believe that ice blobs don't seek to harm keepers, and that they can't help but freezing all that surrounds them. Once an ice blob grows accustomed to a keeper, they become slightly warmer to them. Perhaps the keeper becomes more resistant to this cold. Either case, a keeper should always wear gloves while handling an ice blob. And no matter what, don't lick it. I like that. As a note, history. As noted before, the blobs have been denizens of the monster sanctuary from the moment of its creation. But at first, they only seemed strolling the green grasslands and hills of the mountain path. Over time, they spread and began to populate other areas of the sanctuary as well. One would think that the semi-solid creature like the blob would simply freeze over in the snowy peaks. But somehow they adapted and took on the element of their surroundings. Entry 35. Karaglo, Beast Mage. Bio. Small, feline, fun-loving creatures that love to play around in the dark areas of the monster sanctuary. Many keepers see the Karaglo as a sign of good luck while exploring the dark caves. Karaglos are happily guide lost keepers out of the caves and caverns, traveling ahead of them while carrying their lights by the handle in their mouth. Despite being friendly towards travelers and keepers, a Karaglo is extremely protective of their burrow, and will attempt to guide travelers away from it. Should that fail, the Karaglo will defend their burrow by attacking the trespassers with its sharp claws. History. The Karaglo are seen as by many as one of the friendliest and most domesticated monsters in the monster sanctuary, and many retired keepers keep them as pets. It is advised for keepers wishing to keep a Karaglo that they are provided with a room or an area that is left in the dark, as Karaglos tend to get rowdy and destructive otherwise. However, once well-adjusted to lighting of homes and outdoor environments, a Karaglo is as playful as they are in caves. They make for great pets for children or lonely old individuals to take care of. You're an interesting one. Entry 36. Aramoon, let's just call him Autumntail. Reptile Beast. Bio. A curious mix of reptile and canine physiology with a unique set of skills. In particular, Autumntail's ability to find precious stones and minerals is singular among the inhabitants of the monster sanctuary. This ability might be developed due to the Autumntail's particular feeding habits. Its primary diet consists of mana, which it obtains from specific minerals found in caves. And underground. This renders their body fragile to physical forces, but gives them almost impenetrable resistance to magical influences. History. The Autumntail is loyal to its keeper to a degree that sometimes proves tragic. When it was first discovered that these species had a knack for finding gemstones, many treasure seekers sought them out. However, removing them from their habitats, which were rich in mana that they needed to survive, proved fatal to many of the species. Since then, it has become a well-known fact that keeping an Autumntail is a big responsibility, that should come with it with certain challenges. However, a keeper who is able to properly take care of an Autumntail's needs is in turn rewarded with one of the most loyal and intelligent companions a keeper can wish for. Entry 37. Megatar, Beast Warrior. This Bronel breed of gargantuan beastman has perfectly adapted to the dire and changing conditions of the snowy mountaintops of the snowy peaks. The frosty mountaintops of the snowy peaks. This resulted in strength, endurance, and sturdiness that are unparalleled within the entire monster sanctuary. While the Megatar is surprisingly mild-tempered, those who enter their territory are advised not to enrage them. Once their anger is ignited, there is only one way to save yourself. Flee at once. Within their territory, Megatars reign supreme. History. As we know from history, Minitars represent a smaller version of the original Minotaur, guardian of the mythic labyrinth. After the ancient monster Minotaur split itself apart, the Minitars remained as they were for hundreds of years. Only once their kind was brought to the sanctuary and a tribe of Minitars moved to the snowy peaks were they able to regain a part of their former glory. They evolved into the larger and more muscular Megatars, but at the same time they moved away from their old ways, as the Megatar solely relies on its brute strength and able to control the elements. Therefore, they are a whole new breed of monster that only came to life thanks to the Monster Sanctuary. Oh, I've been waiting for this one. Entry 38. Mogwai. Nature, beast, mage. Bio. Small, furry creature that seem docile and well-meaning at first glance. Turn one back to a Mogwai reveals their impish, even diabolical nature. Getting hit by a small snowball in the back while a Mogwai retreats with a goat-like laugh is one of the more milder types of Mogwai misdeeds. They give too much trust to a Mogwai, and you might end up chasing after that same Mogwai as it's running off with your backpack and supplies. Mogwais are used to hoard their stolen goods in secret caves that they dug under their remote mountain villages. History. In ancient times, there were nobles and rulers who attempted to keep a Mogwai as a pet. A set of rules for Mogwais were written down in this time period. It is said that these rules shall never be broken, or else one might risk great calamities. However, no records of any of these rules, despite many keepers scrounging the old world for them. Therefore, it is not known what the keeper of a Mogwai should do or refrain from doing. If you still want to keep a Mogwai, you should probably be very careful in general. I love that. Entry 39. Crystal Snail. Aquatic nature. Bio. The most well-known resident of the crystal caves of the snowy peaks. In fact, crystal snails are the source of the brilliant crystals found in the caves. The crystal snail crystal snails dig into the ground and consume the minerals they find there, which allows them to grow the pristine crystals on their back. The crystals provide the crystal snails a protective cover from predators, but the crystal snails can also use them to fight back as well. The crystal snails are completely deaf, so keepers have communicated with them with sign language. History. As we know from numerous caves, drawings, and fossil finds, the crystal snails have existed since the prehistoric times. Since they came into being so early in history, it is even theorized that they used to represent the apex species of the world. They lived and prospered in an age in which they were only rivaled by the primal nature of the primal nature spirits such as Rocky. Perhaps it was because of them that so many other monsters evolved. The crystal snail can be extremely invasive species that will consume most of the plant life in its habitat if left unhindered. Animals had to turn to monstrous beasts to fight back. Last one of this page and of this episode. Entry 40. Occlude. Aquatic Fish Beast. Bio. Once regarded as the king of the ocean and referred to as killer of whales by sailors. Beyond their status as an apex predator, they are often reported to have a connection with the afterworld. Okay. History. According to legend, the humans of the old world began to hunt seals and whales more exclusively. There was less food in the ocean for the onklute. So the onklute began to walk on land and prey on animals it found there. But mostly, the onklute preyed on humans. The human fishers and warriors tried to fight back, but none of their weapons had any effect on the onklute. And so it became the mission of the shamans to defeat these unstoppable predators. Using ancient rituals and spells, the shamans learned to link their spirits with the onklute and control them. The onklute no longer preyed on humans, and the shamans gained the powers of the onklute. Okay. That was page 2. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 more pages. I will do those in later episodes, and it will be once a week, because it doesn't seem like anybody really cares about this stuff, but I do actually want to read all of these, so I'm going to do it sparingly. Hence, the thumbnails are going to be a little weird. So I will catch you all next time. Until then, have fun, be safe, and aloha.